Hello and welcome. My name is Mr. Buss, and I'm going to be explaining how to go through Lab 1 in this video. You're going to need a LabQuest. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on now. Here's the power button, and it's probably going to go through the warm-up phase here. You're also going to need temperature probe, iPad of course, and you'll need to have two beakers, one with hot water and one with cold water on ice. 250 milliliter beakers will work fine. Go ahead and plug the temperature probe in to channel 1 while the LabQuest is going through its warm-up phase. It's not a bad idea right now either to make sure that in Schoology you've obtained the Lab 1 Introduction to Data Collection sheet, and you can go ahead and send that over to Notability because you're going to be working on that and writing on that. Create new notes, okay. Now, if your temperature probe is plugged in and your LabQuest is working, you should have a temperature reading. You can certainly change that by tapping the screen, changing the units to Fahrenheit or Kelvin. We're going to leave it in Celsius for this lab, but you can certainly check out and see how that works. We want to make sure that our iPad and LabQuest are talking to each other. So I'm going to hit the Home button, and I'm going to go to Connections. There's a QR code and a web address. If you don't have a QR reader, you can simply type the web address into Safari. If you have a QR reader, now's the time. Go ahead and scan that code. Okay. My iPad should now be talking wirelessly to the LabQuest device. If I tap the Home button again, and I go to the LabQuest app, which is in the upper left, should take me to my meter screen, and this is the meter screen where you're viewing like this. If I take my iPad and I tap in the upper right and I view this as a meter, they should be pretty similar. Okay, they're talking to each other wirelessly, so they should be doing about the same thing. I'm going to click back to view this as a graph. That's going to be the most appropriate for this lab. When you're actually running the lab now, you're going to want to take the temperature probe and place it in the ice water bath, the cold water, and let it sit there for a minute or two until the temperature probe is stabilized and as cool as it's going to get. When that has happened, you're going to hit play, but before you do that, we have to make sure that we have this set up correctly. On this screen, which is the meter tab, which is this icon up in here in the upper left, looks like a how fast you're going in a car, a speedometer. You're going to tap the rate in the right, and the rate is going to be changed. Let me move this closer so you can see. The rate in samples per second is going to be 0.5. So do that. The duration or time that you're going to collect data is going to be for 60 seconds, not 180. Okay? So now we have the rate as 0.5 samples per second, which really means that you're going to take a sample every 2 seconds. And the duration is going to go for 60 seconds. If I hit play here, or on any iPad that is connected, here, data is going to start being collected. So let's go ahead and try that. I hit play. The data collection is beginning. I'm at about 4 seconds into the data collection. For this lab, at 10 seconds, you move the temperature probe from the cold water to the warm water. It's going to be obvious that you did that on your graph, as the graph is going to continue to go up since the temperature probe is now in the warm water. You're going to let data collection continue for the entire 60-second run. It'll stop automatically. And again, whether you're viewing the iPad or the LabQuest, you should be getting the same data. And each person in the lab group should be having their iPad interface or wirelessly communicate with the LabQuest device. I'm going to let time run out here for another 10 seconds so that I can show you how to obtain the data. Okay, great. It is finished its data collection. So now what we're gonna do, and I'll go over into Notability here and I'll kind of explain it here. The purpose or objective of part 1 is to obtain data in multiple ways using our LabQuest device. But let's go ahead and focus on how to get this data here. For this part, I want you to take a screenshot of your iPad connected to LabQuest when you have manually found the appropriate highest temperature, the actual highest temperature. So for this, it looks like the highest temperature might be 31.9 degrees Celsius, and I'm going to find the point at which 31.9 degrees Celsius first occurred, and it might have first occurred at 52 seconds, so I'm going to write 31.9 degrees Celsius in 52 seconds here, and then 52 seconds. Obviously, I'm writing kind of sloppy here, but you kind of get the point there. And then you want to screenshot that. To screenshot, simply hold down the home button and the power button simultaneously. That sent the screen to my camera roll. In Notability, I'm going to hit the plus. I'm going to add a photo. I'm going to add the photo I just took. Perfect. For this next part, what you're going to do is you're going to get the data from that run that you took differently. You're going to view the data as a table. And you're going to find the point at which the temperature first achieved its highest mark, which here is going to read 54 seconds was 31.9. 54 seconds, 31.9. You can see it's pretty similar. Not exactly the same, but pretty similar. And you'll want to screenshot that as well and include that in your write-up. Perfect. For the next part here, we want to obtain the data a third way. I'm going to view this as a graph again. And this time I'm actually going to select this area of the graph by dragging on it. I'm going to then tap the screen. I'm going to add a statistical set. For this graph, and I can now add this as well. 31.918 degrees Celsius at 51 seconds. I don't remember if that was exactly right or not, but again, just in an effort to show you how this is going to work, again, you're going to screenshot this, a third screenshot, and go ahead and add that to your write-up for this part. Okay, that works. So that's how you run part 1. All right, now I'm going to explain how to run part 2 for lab number 1. I'm going to go ahead and hit the meter tab, which is this tab in the upper left here. I'm going to go to mode, and I want to change the mode from time-based to events with entry. If there's 2 people in your group, you're going to want 2 columns. If there's 3, you're going to want 3 columns. You're going to want to put the name of people. In your group. Leave the units blank. Hit OK. I'm going to go ahead and discard the stuff that I did from part 1. I'm going to go ahead and hit play. Your iPad might be telling you that you should make a decision here to keep and go offline or to erase and continue. I think erase and continue to be the way to go, so you can continue taking data. The first person in the group is going to hold the temperature probe. The temperature probe sensor is at the end, not in the middle of it, so make sure that where you're holding it is at the end of the temperature probe. Hold it until the temperature stabilizes, until that reading doesn't change anymore. Let's pretend that the reading is stabilized. You're going to hit keep. Do not hit stop. Hit keep. I am the first person, so I'm going to hit a 1. Okay. The next person grabs the temperature probe. Same thing. I should mention you should cool off the temperature probe by putting it in some room temperature water for a minute, or maybe not that long, drying it off so that it's not still hot from the last person. Again, grab the temperature probe. When the temperature is stabilized for them, when it's no longer changing, hit keep. That person is number 2. They are the second person. If there's only 2 people in a group, you're done. If there's 3 people, do the third. I'm going to hit stop now. And I think that makes more sense to view this as a graph, so I'm going to hit XY in the top here. That's going to give me the option to view this as a graph on the LabQuest. It also probably makes more sense to do that on the iPad as well. So to view this as a data table, screenshot that, record that in your lab write-up. And I'm thinking you're pretty close to being done with this lab by now. If you're all done with the LabQuest, this is important. Please, when you're done, hit the home button. Go to System. And this is a computer, and this computer works best when it is powered up before use instead of being remaining on. Please hit the shutdown and hit OK to end the session. System is now shutting down. The computer is going to power down. Simply turning the power off here does not turn it off, it just turns it on standby.